So North Edinburgh has a strong history of local people taking action to improve the area. The groups that are involved in the R2 partnership are heavily engaged in working with the local council and other organisations to develop the area. That includes the road and path network and also some of the green spaces. Some of the facilities that we've got are great, but some of them can be improved, and the developments that are taking place are a big step in the right direction. So it's really important that the local people get to determine how that area is developed.
We run different groups and activities for local people in the area, and two of those groups in particular are the walking group and the cycling group. Public space and infrastructure do have an impact. We're really conscious now of the kinds of surfaces that we're working with when we go walking, that we've really noticed more about dropped curbs, and the pavements themselves are not that smooth. Pennywell Road in particular is challenging in parts because of the road surface, the pavement surface. It's pretty rough, and that can be quite challenging to some particular members of the group, but I think collectively as a whole. Okay. So a few more weeks out. All right. Okay.
The pavements are uneven and bumpy and all that, and it gets sore on my arms sometimes, so I need to stop for a couple of minutes to get a break. When we walk to a destination, there are not enough benches on the pavements. Sometimes I say to Katie or Fiona, is it okay for me to get the bus back? Yeah, I do feel like I'm slowing everybody down.
Every time I have to cross a road with the children, it makes me feel anxious because I'm thinking about dropped curbs, where it's good to bounce the buggy down, and how fast the cars are approaching, and also where the crossings are. There is a traffic island just down at Granton Mill Park. It's not big enough. I've got a buggy, I've got two children on either side. I'm hanging out on the road as there's cars coming at like 30 miles per hour each side of me. It stresses me out. It's a horrible feeling. There's no pedestrian crossing in sight down there.
I want to begin to cycle, but I've never had the opportunity. It's either time challenge or capacity challenge. But since this opportunity came up, I've made plans to attend this.
Today we're here for the first edition of our cycling classes in partnership with the Regional Equality Council. Some of the big barriers, I think, are probably just fear, not having people that you know or people that you trust to learn with or to organise it. I think another barrier, obviously, is the cost of accessing a bike, of buying a bike or of renting a bike, and then potentially of having to pay for lessons. So these lessons will be free.
Cycling with my kids is one beautiful thing that we've always wanted to do, myself and my husband. But for now, I try to, skip it forward until I know how to cycle and get a bicycle myself before I go ahead and get them there, so we can do the exercise thing as a family and, help us to bond better. It will be easier for me to access places I go to every day as my routine. Accompany my kids to school, visit the stores at Drylaw, visit Drylaw Neighbourhood Centre because sometimes I hold activities there. Visit places around Newhouse and Pennywell because these are my neighbourhood.
We want everyone who lives in North Edinburgh and everyone that we support at Project Esperanza to feel like they have a right to all the public space that we have here, because they absolutely do, in light of recent riots, racist attacks that have happened in the UK. Obviously, there is a great feeling amongst migrant populations of unsafety in public. And so being in this place together as a group to learn to cycle can really be a start to feeling like you do have a right to access these spaces.
We're so lucky to be in North Edinburgh because we are on the fringes of the water, with loads of green spaces, but they are declining. And I think with that comes people's feelings of safety. Young people feel unsafe a lot of the time in places that they should feel safe, like their own community or their own housing estate or whatever.
There's this like alleyway at night, it's quite scary. And like boys will go about on quads, motorbikes, electric scooters. And it's kind of not like a nice area, to be honest. It would be better if we had like lights up at my bit.
We're coming into the winter months and there could be a lot more done with regards to the lighting, but I also think that maintenance of like the walkways, the drainage or the litter, cutting back of the hedges would make it better to try and encourage people in our own community to use those accessible spaces. Use their bikes to come down onto the foreshore, use their buggies and their prams and stuff like that to walk along and access other areas of Edinburgh. But that all needs things like maintenance, publicising it, contributing to the feeling that people own it.
The new developments will be great for local people because it will really help them in terms of their active travel, so getting around on the bike, being able to walk and to get to places safely. It's really important that the people of North Edinburgh play a part in these changes. They need to own it, and ultimately it's the people of North Edinburgh that will be living with these changes.